Hello. So I wanted to share my experience as I've been sharing everything, everything, everything. Um, so I was having issues with my job, right? So the only thing to do was to look for something else, right? Because why stay somewhere where I'm miserable? And I was so miserable. But something that I did speak about was basically sometimes you'll have to be kind and forgive somebody that doesn't really see a problem with what they're doing to you, even though like they can be very cruel and mean and like bullies. So the woman that I was really like kind to, and I didn't want to be that day. I had to push myself to ask her what was wrong with her, if she was okay, and then listen to her problems, even though I know she was doing things to sabotage me and just being really mean. And like the one day, like wouldn't give me help and stood there and watched me through the window and was basically laughing at me. So anyway, so I sucked it up and I was the bigger person, right? And so I was nice, and then she asked, could I go get her lunch and stuff? And I did get her lunch, right? So here's the thing with that, and this is why you should always be kind, because it's not you shouldn't retaliate against people because it's not your place to do so. That's like let go and let God do that, because he could do it way better than you can ever imagine, and you will have a front row seat for it. You'll see it. You'll see it. At least I do. I do. It's so funny because, and almost like lately it's been instantaneously that I've been seeing it, right? So the group, there was a group effort, right, to get rid of me at the place. And usually there is. People will not like you for whatever reason, and the people that don't like you will team up with other people, right? So now the people that were messing with me, the one girl ended up like it, everything that they were doing to me, like the one day I was crying all day, right? It started getting turned back around. So the one girl ends up quitting. So now the safety in numbers goes down, right? So this woman has to be a little nicer to me, and we're already severely understaffed. So we're severely understaffed. So, oh wow, the girl that we were trying to get rid of, we kind of have to rely on her, right? So it ended up being, I was like, there's only a couple of us because the school is like closing down, and there was only a couple of us there because of course they leave the people there and they're not transferring them to other facilities until like the last minute. But the people that they didn't like, they left here. So we're like severely understaffed as it is, and then on top of it, they're taking any help that we had and putting it in a new location, right? Okay. Now that's a big problem because we're already severely understaffed, but they don't care, right? Okay, so this is how stupid people will be. I went out and I found myself a better job, a nicer job. And I was like, I thought about it. I'm like, should I go in and give them notice? I'm like, I've ghosted jobs in the past, it's not that I'm irresponsible, because I'm not. Okay, it's just I take a lot, and I tend not to put boundaries up in jobs, as well as I was like that with relationships too. And people would walk all over me, and jobs do the same thing too. But here's the thing with the job, that job will walk right over you if you drop dead because they were stressing you the hell out, and replace you within a heartbeat. They won't even probably send flowers to your damn funeral. They don't care. They don't give a shit what you did. They don't give a damn what you were doing or how good you were or what you sold, or they don't care. You're a number. They don't care. They'll push you out the way and then move somebody else in, right? So yeah, so that's the thing with that. So I went out and I found a new job. Okay, so I went in, and I like to live my life. I think about what can happen with karma. And for me, I'll be like, okay, no, I'll let go, and I'll let God deal with whatever he's gonna deal with. And usually I get a front row seat to see it, because I went in with the best of intentions for people or for a business that I was hired on to do certain things for. And then people get petty because, like I said, they don't want to work towards bettering themselves. We strive for mediocrity here. And you can see, like, when we, like, lessen things like grades, like, oh, instead of building people up and working harder, let's make it easier. Right. Okay, whatever. Do you. See how that works for you. Fine. That's not how I live. But anyway, so people will do that, right? So I live my life like that. So I was like, all right, I want to do things way differently. And I'm like, all right, you know, regardless of how they treated me and how they were trying to push me out. And then all of a sudden, like, people that were harassing me ended up quitting because they went to the other place and it was horrific, right? They're crying now. I was crying in tears all day and they were perfectly fine with me crying all day and actually laughing at me. The bitch laughed at me through the window, okay? So fine, whatever, okay, fine. I sucked it up and I dealt with it. So now, right, I go in and I'm like, all right, the second I go in, I said, listen, I'm giving my 2 weeks. You don't have me after 2 weeks. All right, so the second now, homegirl starts going in. And I'm like, okay, so I just give my notice and I already started working at this other place, right? So you're severely understaffed. I'm the only person, maybe 2 other people here, right? to work for you. And you're gonna start going in on me? Does that make any kind of sense? And I let her know too. And I was like, because I had shorts on. There was nothing wrong with my shorts. They weren't like Daisy Dukes. They were not little tiny shorts. They were normal, like, shorts. They came down to about my knee and they didn't really show anything. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm like, all right. So she makes a comment about my shorts. And she's like, I said, do you really think that's wise of you? I said, do you think that's smart? I said, I just gave you my notice. I said, do you think it's smart to start talking to me about my shorts? Because I'll go to F home. I don't care. And she was like, and like, you could see it in her face. Like, it was more of an ego thing than anything else, than doing something that would be smart for the company. It was her ego, right? So your ego gets bruised and now you want to go and retaliate, right? Okay, all right, go retaliate, right? So the woman starts in on me, right? In on me, right? Until I lost my temper. And I said, you know what? I'm going home. I'm taking my ball and I'm going home. I said, you want to play with me? Okay, you come in here. You take care of the kids. You do what you need to do. Do something other than starting shit with people and throwing rocks from glass houses, lady. So, okay, so now I'm getting mad. Like, and I'm to the point where if anybody has ever seen me mad, you know I'm scared. I get, like, shaking mad and, like, so I'm at that point and I know I don't want to get there and you've already been poking and prodding. Now she starts to corner me. She corners me because she doesn't want me to leave. It's kind of like a kid that, like, hit their brother or sister and they're like, don't tell mom, don't tell mom, don't tell mom. I had no intention. I just wanted to leave and get out of that situation, right? It's fight or flight. Okay, she's unreasonable, right? Even after I talked to her the other day. Hello, obviously, if you're going to go after somebody that just gave you your 2 weeks notice and has another job lined up and you don't have anybody, hello. That makes no kind of sense. Hello, what a stupid person. What a moron. So I'm like, all right. So I'm asking her. I'm like, move. No, she starts coming towards me and like, no. Because now she's going to get in trouble. Because now she didn't expect me to say anything because I normally keep my mouth shut. But this is the thing. You pick and choose your battles. And I had every right to say something. So now she thinks that because I really don't say that much often. Okay, so she keeps on. She could have just let me go. No. She pulls me into HR and the corporate woman that I have never met for the first time after 3 months of work is there. Now I'm pissed, like to the point where I'm screaming. But I was able to tell them every little thing that she did and every little thing that I needed to say. And you see that? You bit your nose off to spite your face. But anyway, that's the point. Like, I don't. And I told her, I said, listen, I said, you got another thing coming. I was like, and I was nice to you. I don't understand that. Like, see, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.